think we're live.
Hi guys. Hi guys and welcome back to the Female Esports League Vietnamese Qualifiers over here in our new 2020 season. We are on to, I think it's game number 5 of the day. It's our second lower bracket match between Team Iris Girls over on the blue side and EVOS Valkyrie on the red side. And both these teams super exciting, playing for the chance to make it into the best of 3 grand final later today versus V Gaming.
So I see some red flags already. The misfortune picked up by Iris Gaming, and meanwhile on the other side, Rakan picked up. Means that they should be able to secure the Xayah Rakan in the second pick rotation. What is the response to that? Morgana is not too bad. You can Black Shield the engage coming through, but overall I would have preferred something like Thresh, Leona. Well, maybe not Leona. Thresh or Nautilus would have been good.
Yeah, Leona not the best versus the Rakan, but I think Morgana is just kind of one of those you see the enemy pick Gragas, you close your eyes, you pick Morgana, one of those knee-jerk responses that a lot of teams have.
Also, they subbed out KZ, so it's gonna be Miho that's playing in the support position this time, which maybe explains a bit more about why the support pool has changed this time on the Morgana. But like we said, Xayah Rakan locked in for EVOS Valkyries, and this is starting to shape up to be a very dangerous composition.
Yep. The Xayah Rakan as well as the Gragas just instantly provides a lot of mobility, a lot of even pick potential for the side of EVOS. We're going to see how Iris Gaming want to respond. This is going to be the Syndra and the Mordekaiser bans. We're expecting a lot more mid lane and top lane bans this game. Yep, it's going to be the Kennen, I think, once again, target banning versus Iris Girls.
I think you need to get a Camille or Aatrox in the top lane here for EVOS Valkyries, because chances are you're going to go for an AP mid laner, and if you have AP mid, AP jungle, and AP top, your damage profile is a bit too simplistic. So I think you want a AD top laner in the form of a Bruiser, right? So this should be the pickup, and then you save. You could go for Cassio mid first, and then
yeah, I was thinking like maybe something like the Cass, the Azir, the Victor, which is still open for the Iris Gaming, just because they've shown the MF Morgana and also the Sejuani. So if you're looking at a very solid 5v5 sort of team fight zoning mage control champion over in the mid lane would be very good.
What is decent against Cassiopeia? Well, there's pretty good options, but you don't want anyone too melee because she gets...
Teemo. Come on, she's cycling through all of the top lane champs. Oh, it's gonna be Orin.
Are they really gonna all in on the wombo combo composition?
Looks like they are. I mean, Orin just besides, I think about, when was it, 4 or 5 months ago, there was that patch that really did gut Orin's kit just in terms of the knock-up. That was when they changed how his items, the reworking it for your teammates, the upgrades. That patch really cut down, I think, on his utility, on his ability to really still be a tank while still having utility. I think that was what they gutted.
Okay, so Ryze is going to be the champion of choice for HHQ. Not too bad of a matchup. It's a bit on the advantageous end, because the way you trade is you want to proc your phase shift quicker then Cassio can move up to you. So every time she walks up to try and Q you, you EQ the minions, and you just proc 2 stacks, you auto her, or you W her and walk away. So you proc face rush and just back off, you don't trade. It's going to be Tristana in the top lane against Ornn, who will be given a free lane. Like we said, you need an AD in the top side. But this represents a new set of problems. EVOS Valkyrie doesn't have a front line right now. There's no true tank on their end, unless Gragas goes for the Cinderhulk build into a tank front line, in which case, sure.
Yeah, there's also, I guess, the Cass Flash ultimate. I'm not really sure. That's definitely not the most reliable sort of engage you have every 2.5 minutes for that. But yeah, as you were saying, I mean, it looked like a very solid composition to start with the Xayah Rakan as well as the Gragas. But now, especially with the Tristana top, I'm a bit not too sold on this one.
I would have preferred an Aatrox here, or something that provides a bit more of a meat shield. The reason why I say that is because Cassiopeia as a champion, you always want a bit of buffer between yourself and
Yep.
the enemies coming through.
Exactly.
If there's no one in front of you, and let's look at this composition, let's be very honest. The only
Mhm.
person that's going to be in the front line
It's
moving forward,
Gragas.
yeah, it's Gragas with you.
Literally
Yeah.
moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cassiopeia, the thing is, your W as well as your R ranges are all
Mhm.
very short, which is why you really
E
do
as
need.
well.
Yep. So you need someone to really soak up the land the CC, soak up
Mhm.
that damage, and then you use your R as a
Yeah.
sort of like second follow up stun.
For the most part, Cassio's R is a counter engage tool.
Mm-hmm.
For that to work, you need someone on your team to be the focus of attention, right? You need someone to take the damage first before you can counter engage. No one really on the side of EVOS Valkyrie really wants to be that target apart from the Gragas, and once he dies, like, it's not gonna
Yeah.
take a lot. Right?
Yeah, like EVOS Valkyrie have mobility, but it's mobility in the other way.
Mhm.
They're very good at the disengage. Pretty much every single champion on their team has that disengage. You've got the Tristana
Yeah.
W, you've got the Gragas Roll, and the Zyra gone together are like, you know what? Peace.
Whereas,
Yeah, and then when you compare that to the side of Iris Gaming, it's just so hard because Iris Gaming have such good CC lockdown, such good engage, such good forward mobility. You imagine the Sejuani Q, the R, or even the Rise R into team fight with that W. They had just have so many good tools, or Orin, Call of the Forge God, even
Yeah.
the Morgana in a pinch with her Q and then her R.
and think about teamfight basics. When you have two frontliners like Ornn and Sejuani, it allows your team to just walk and fight front to back. Because you have these tanks that are soaking damage, you are going to be consistently more efficient when it comes to dealing damage in fights, because you're soaking damage on tanks, but you're outputting damage on carries. Whereas for the other side, carries are taking damage, but also outputting damage, right? You think of it that way. So I do expect Iris Gaming to be fighting front to back, scaling to a standard late game style, whereas the onus is very much on EVOS Valkyrie to accelerate the pace of the game. Use the Tristana as a demolition expert, if you will. You know, move from lane to lane using her E to take down structures as quickly as possible.
Yeah, she's pretty much going to be the AD Ziggs. That's her role on this team. I feel like we might be in for another long game this time. You've got the Rise MF over on the blue side, and then over on the red side, you've got the Cass and the Zaya. So I think both these teams, as opposed to I think what we saw earlier on between Phoenix as well as EVOS Valkyrie, which was, you know, down to the wire elimination matchup, and we saw both these teams just go super bloodthirsty and all in. I think this game, both teams have decided to, you know, take a step back, take things seriously, go for that team fight, and then just go for that pure skill matchup in the late game.
One thing I want to see though is both the tanks on the side of Iris Gaming pick up Ninja Tab Eyes into the Adaptive Helm, right? So this is probably one of the best ways to mitigate damage from not only AD carries but Cassiopeia, because all of her damage comes from E. The Twin Fangs is a repeated skill. The moment she casts it, the second or third time, the damage is reduced through Adaptive Helm. So if you buy those two items, you effectively cut the damage on the side of EVOS Valkyrie down by 30% from the Tab Eyes as well as the Adaptive Helm. So those should be the items of choice on the tanks. Whereas if you're Rise and MF, you just go full damage this game. Don't bother about survivability, because if you die, you're dead. There's no like two ways about it. Either you output damage and win the fight, or you die on the spot and you lose.
Yeah, I think for this game in particular, it's going to be absolutely crucial for Bong to really not just land the miracle bullet times, but make sure she positions herself safely out of harm's way. And with that, guys, we are on to our very last best of one game today. This is the decider match to see which is going to be our second team that will be joining V Gaming in this season's FSL Vietnamese Qualifiers Grand Final Best of 3 series. A lot on the line for both these teams to play for, Hungry.
Definitely a grudge match. And
Oh,
speaking
no!
of which, Dark Binding missing by a pixel. As I was saying, definitely a grudge match. EVOS Valkyrie got eliminated by Iris Gaming, previously known as Box Ladies, the previous FSL tournament, and now they're coming back in, trying to regain their spot. Remember that EVOS Valkyries were the first teams invited from Vietnam into the FSL circuit, and now that they are looking for a second chance at redemption this time, beating Iris Gaming is gonna be the defeat of the ghost that they were haunted by before.
Yeah, I think EVOS definitely are going to want to get that W over Iris Gaming to start off their 2020 year, right?
In my head, I don't know why I was thinking of that scene from Star Wars where Luke Skywalker has to like face Darth Vader in the swamps of Dagobah.
I've never watched Star Wars.
He
You're on
kills him,
your
and
own
it's
on
actually
this
himself,
one.
you know, so...
So that was a metaphor for overcoming the ghost of your past.
Yes.
I understood that reference. Do you know that Captain America, I understood that reference, Jim, from Avengers?
Starting on the red buff is Ali. Now, she did not get any information on where Gragas started, so she's going to have to guesstimate what the pathing is. Assuming that she started on the red buff, she would have been seen right now, so you have to sort of guess that she's on blue, moving towards the top side after a clear. This time going for Dark Harvest is the jungle Gragas. No Predator, no Electrocute. It's interesting to note that all these different junglers have different stylistic habits here. So engage is
Xayah getting caught.
Oh, Ignite very early. The double up actually following through. One more auto attack is not going to finish her off. And now getting ignited in return. That's why you always pop your potions early, ladies and gentlemen. Getting caught out. All the summoner spells being blown apart from the flash on both supports.
Oh, and that aggressive flash from Bong as well, trying to land the last auto attack she did, but it just wasn't enough to pick up the kill on Kamiya, which means that Bong's flash pretty much wasted at that point, because it means that both bot laners, both AD carries trading 2 for 2 in terms of summoner spells. But what did we just see? Iris Gaming picking up the kill, the first blood onto Rakan.
Yeah, now trying to push in and reset. This is going to be the 4th wave that's reaching the lane right now. So if they can force this wave in and get the reset, it'll be very clean.
They got the one who got the first one was actually Morgana. Maybe landed a stray Q onto the Rakan, I think. For that first blood, we did see Sin chasing off a pretty low health Ali on the Sejuani. I mean, as Sejuani, you don't have the fastest clears. Also, you do tend to go really low in health on your first clear. So Sin knew that and kind of went for that sneaky little invade right there, just bullying Ali out.
Volume's moving up. Okay. Adapted on the fly. Meanwhile, gank coming in. Or rather, just to help the recall push through. I think Coraline's looking to get a early base, and needed Gragas to show up in the mid lane to make sure things happen. Interesting that HHQ did go for the Conqueror instead of the Phase Rush, like I proposed earlier. Because of the movement speed you get from Phase Rush, it's easier for you to take short trades, but with the Conqueror, you're locked into taking these long-term, duration trades now, which obviously favor the Cassiopeia a lot more. So I think this is a stylistic mistake coming through from HHQ. She's definitely going to get punished later on.
Yeah, I mean, talking about getting punished later on, she's pretty much getting punished right now. She's down about 10 CS against Coraline over in lane, and we were saying that it's not going to get any easier in terms of the matchup. Gragas where you're getting spotted out by those wards. So Iris Gaming know that the EVOS jungler is around. We're able to dissuade him, I think, with the combination of the Black Shield as well as Q into the Tribush.
She needs to like hard reset. It doesn't matter if you lose a wave as long as you can teleport back in time, but she's being super greedy, sticking around without mana, and it's costing her a lot of CS under the turret because she looks pretty unfamiliar with how it is like to CS with a Ryze without mana.
Yeah, I mean, Ryze, not really the sort of champion that we've seen HHQ play. It's not really...
She did play the first game of
yeah,
the
she
day,
did play
I
in the
think,
first game. It's not really the sort of champion where she shines in particular. You know, she's the type, she wants that gap closer. She wants to go for the all-in. She wants to play those assassins in mid lane.
Oh, a lot of damage now onto the Tristana. Press the attack has been procced already, and we'll have to leap away though, down to about 120 health is the top lane of EVOS Valkyrie.
Still has her flash, however, so don't think that she was really in too much of a danger. Just knew that she would be able to walk out of that one, and if worse come to worse, she would still have the W. Right here, pink ward is gonna get broken down over in the bush. That always hurts as a support. You're like, but I spent 75 gold. You know how hard it was to get that amount of gold?
It's not about the money. It's the vision that you get.
And then you put down the ward only to see it get taken down instantly. That poke is sick.
This is why this lane is so frustrating, because you have to not only dance around the tormented soil, you have to dance around to make it rain, the double up as well as the dark binding. So there's ostensibly 4 skill shots you have to watch out for, 2 which will kill you. It's very, very tricky to maneuver around.
To kill you, to annoy you. Yeah, it's just bad times. Bad times when you're versus something like the MF Zyra, the MF Morgana. Even given the fact that how strong of a lane Zyra Rakan is, it's still hard for them. And right now, Rakan just having free reign over here. Knows that like blue side is invading over at the drop, but I don't think the bot lane can really do anything about it. Gragas, yeah, he doesn't want to be there, and now there's the bit of the late roam coming out from the Rakan as well as the cast. So he kind of walked up earlier and saw that that was going on, but also was like, you know what, I'm not gonna 1v3. Oh,
re-engaging onto the Sejuani. This is a bit of a split fight. Petrifying Gaze catching absolutely no one, and now I think IG are deciding to back off. Iris Gaming doesn't want to stick around for this, turning their attention over onto the Cassiopeia, who had to cleanse, had to flash to get out. She's still throwing the Twin Fangs out. I'm not sure why she's sticking around, and she's definitely going to pay for it with her life. Flashes being expended all around, and jeez, Ali just barely making it out with like 10 health, 30 health right there.
We thought that that EVOS Valkyrie were going to back out of that. We thought that, you know, they saw that blue side was 3-man invading their blue F. We thought that they would have the restraint, have the presence of mind to not try and challenge them, especially not 1 by 1, which was the way that they somehow chose. Yep, like we saw Coraline show up and we were like, oh, she's got to back off for sure. There's no way she can fight this. And then she went back in and we were like, wait, what is going on? Not the best of decisions from their team. It's going to cost them the early game right here, as Iris Gaming right now are 3-0 up off of EVOS Valkyrie. About 1.5 gold as well as the first Mountain Dragon.
So this composition on a whole doesn't really use Mountain Dragon that well. They won't be building a lot of resistances or armor. That being said, it's good to deny it away from Iris Gaming, because guess what? Orin and Sejuani will both be building a ton of armor as well as MR, so you kind of want to take away the Mountain Dragon from them, make sure that it will not spawn anymore. Because remember, if the first dragon is going to be Mountain, I think it sort of cycles through the rest. You will not get a repeat Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, I've kind of fixed that RNG where you can't get 3 Infernal Dragons in a row because that's broken.
Or like 3 mountains and then you just siege Baron super quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Rito. Oh no!
Oh man, that is a fuse bad moment. Missing the Glacial Prison, and Coraline just walking away. Didn't have cleanse in that fight. Remember that she did use it earlier?
Yeah, she actually also didn't have ult. She has her ult now, but if she had needed it earlier, she wouldn't have had it. She would have been in some serious trouble if the Sejuani ultimate had landed. Did go away though. Just saw a bit of Laiho and Orin and ran over in the top side, just digging it out. Nothing really.
Oh man.
The top side. Oh no!
The BM Mastery Flash.
Coraline says, you know what, Ali? You whiff your ult, I can whiff mine too. Over
Speaking
in the bottom
of
side. Whew.
Dark Binding into World Time is pretty good, so it seems. And they will find a kill onto the AD carry there.
There is pretty much no losing MF ult combo.
MF and Janna. MF and Janna.
MF and Lee Sin.
Also, yeah, MF and Lee Sin.
MF and enemy Tom Jench.
Yes, that is also frustrating. Ooh, great knockup on the jump away, and here comes Call of the Forge God. Actually, a lot of damage down. Oh, but the Buster Shot denies the second use of the Call of the Forge God. So Lee Hyo showing that she has some moves of her own as well here on the top side.
Yep, some fancy feet, and she's just gonna, she's not even walking out of that one. She's like, nah, I'm gonna just farm my minions. I'm at half health, and it's instead Ren who's really just hugging the tower, waiting for the wave to crash into the turret. And now Sin clearing out some Vision over here in mid doesn't have her Cassiopeia here, so he's really just trying to help out with the wave management at this point versus HHQ. Khan with the nice roams, finally going to hit it back towards the bot side. Really giving the experience to Kamiho, which is pretty nice, letting her have the solo lane for a bit.
Reparo being started up by Sejuani, and I think it's going to be HHQ that comes over to help her out. Kind of daring and dangerous considering that, you know, Liho has the lane power on the top side, so they will be found out, and I believe this should go the way of EVOS Valkyrie because Liho is the one with the lead in the top half. There's nothing much that Ornn can do here.
It's coming around the back. It looks like Iris Girls will be able to pick this one up. Yep, they do send
oh no, the reset!
Oh no. Oh no.
The tilter.
His patience wore thin.
If they keep this up, they're gonna lose top tier 1.
Yeah, all the their pings going down over onto the Tristana. She's got the wave crashing in now as well, but it looks
Oh, great realm warp into the top side. They will find a kill onto Lihyo, and the next focus is gonna be the Rakan here around the Rift Herald. A lot of focus on their backline. The bullet time is dissuading any further engage. Can they get anything else though is the question. It's a 2 for 2 so far. Featherstorm being used and multiple routes on the front line. Now backing away is HHQ, but Coraline stopwatch being used, no vision whatsoever, will just fall here. I say that, the last Q not able to find its target, and they will find a kill on the Rise.
That 1v1 between Cass and Rise looked really dangerous because Caroline used the stopwatch at that point, and in general, like when you don't want to, what you really don't want to do in the 1v1 versus Rise is give him an extra 3 to 4 seconds of CD because then he gets his entire cycle of skills back up. So look at the dicey. Yep, fun champ, fun face roll champ, but did have the backup of Kamiho. I think managed to get that with the Q. So all's well that ends well for EVOS at least.
Teleport in, Dark Binding was not going to hit there, don't know what you expected, but HHQ just wanted to return back in.
Oh, that was
dicey.
Close.
Yeah. Ocean Dragon though spawning means that Iris Gaming should be able to get this one for free. I don't think there's really anyone in the space to come and dissuade this. Jumping in though is going to be the Tristana. Big mistake. Jumping in alone, they will trade 1 for 1. The support for the top laner. Explosive cast being used is stolen away by Sin here once more. Now the fight breaking out inside the pit, but stopwatch is more than enough. Oh man. Inferno Dragon is going to be the next couple that spawns, and now onto the Rise turns the attention of EVOS Valkyrie. They should find a kill here. The last Twin Fang.
Sin on the run, gonna go down real easily to that last auto attack from a bomb right there. But what a messy skirmish around Dragon. I think it ends with a 2 for 2 right there. MF not quite able to pick up the last kill with the bullet time.
I want to see a bit more coordination coming in from Iris Gaming because compared to the previous wombo combo compositions that they've played, they haven't really been pulling the trigger at the same time this game, and it really concerns me because these are, this is a composition that relies on the big ticket ultimates being timed together.
Yeah, and that was the thing because we saw them in their first 2 games where they won. They had some pretty big leads going into the mid game, kind of overwhelming leads, I want to say. But then in game number 3, when we saw them play versus V Gaming and they suddenly got behind, they did look a bit lost, a bit like not too sure how to play when they were behind in gold. So it is a bit worrying for them in this game that we're kind of seeing how when Iris Gaming don't have that 2 to 4,000 lead early, they're not quite sure how to play.
They do seem a bit lost. I'm gonna agree with you on that point. And small goal leads aside, the execution is still the only thing that's left lacking for me. I think overall though, they do have the draft that makes it work. It's just whether they pull the trigger at the right time. Oh, nice Dark Binding there.
That Q is, that auto attack sound is so satisfying.
You're on the top lane, CS gap grows by 50. Nothing we're too surprised about. This Tristana has been pretty abusive in lane with the range as well as the satchel charge.
Yeah, she's actually got the highest CS out of every single person in the game right now. 138 did finish the Blade of the Rune King very early on as well, which of course gives her that very nice dueling power. 1v1 in that lane.
Someone needs to tell Ren that buying tab eyes more or less reduces the damage from Tristana. It's like, come on, it's basic science. It's like League of Legends science.
200 IQ play.
All for the low price of 800 gold, you can win this duel right here. But wait, there's more.
You too could be gold.
Oh, look at the gang coming up. Realm Warp being used by the Rise. Managing to land the root though will deny any form of escape, but the flash being used by Liho to get out. They made the rotation, but they can't really capitalize on this. Can they get the top tier 1 though is the question right now, because a lot of resources committed to the top side.
Yeah, Leo doesn't have the teleport to be able to make it back into lane, but of course there's so much health left on the top side tier 1 that Iris Gaming are just going to back off, let that minion wave crash into tower, do as much damage as it can. Oh, so joining right here, bot side engage.
Turning the fight across, but bullet time has been channeled already, not really finding the targets that they need to because the flash was expanded by the Rakan to get out. Will be a heal and flash used on the side of Iris Gaming for a single summer spell on the side of EVOS Valkyrie. So net win for EVOS Valkyrie.
Yeah, not the most worth it for Iris Gaming, especially since they use the Sejuani ultimate for that one. Oh, right here, Gragas being a bit caught out, trying to get that extra vision. Doesn't have the E left to E over the wall because he used it to get into that bad spot in the first place. And to add insult to injury, that ward that he was trying to clear is still there.
The value ward.
Disaster.
Still, they will open up the bot half of the map by getting a bot tier 1.
Yep.
HHQ staring down the Snake Lady herself, trying her best to hold her own in this duel.
Yeah, Rakan seeing that, I mean, Gragas went back to base, so Rakan just going through the river, just dropping a couple of wards, trying to get some vision over around the river entrances. Knows that he can't actually go into the blue side jungle, but they really do want to get some vision around the Nyx Dragon spawn. Bunch of missing pings going down. They know that Cass is somewhere in the bot side river, but they don't really want to chase a Cass into the river.
Now remember that from here on out, it's going to be Inferno Dragon spawns all the way, right? So that's extremely valuable because, like we mentioned earlier, Inferno Dragon gives both AP and AD, so increasing your overall damage output. Both teams highly desire this, especially EVOS Valkyrie, who are packing multiple carries and multiple roles. The Mountain, not so good. Inferno, 2 thumbs up.
Both teams right now setting up for this Nyx Dragon spawn. Iris Gaming with the 5-man Gragas. Just gonna throw some barrels down around the side. How did that Q not land? Come on, what is even that
Rito,
Morgana
please.
hitbox? Fix Blizz.
All the Forge God being used, but it's actually not a lot of
Just
tight corners to funnel them into.
yeah,
So
just trying to split up the EVOS team. I think split them into 2, but really it's splitting Iris Gaming away from the dragon, and now EVOS are the ones to. Oh,
good fight breaking out. Look at the front line. Multiple members getting caught out. Bullet type hitting absolutely no one, and this could be an issue. Sin is the first to fall, and so is Sejuani next. But multiple members of Iris Gaming extremely low now, having to get out with the Realm Warp. It's still up for EVOS Valkyrie, and they should be able to get the Inferno here for free, as the commitment was rather poor on Iris Gaming's side.
I mean, props to Iris Gaming for a nice Realm Warp to make it out of that one. But as you mentioned, just Bong completely missing on the bullet time means that Iris Gaming unfortunately don't have any damage at all. I mean, you look at the rest of the team, it's a Morgana, Orin, and Sejuani, right? So if your bullet time isn't landing on crucial members, there's no way that you can win any sort of a team fight. And that's unfortunately just what happened to Iris Gaming. They had, I think, a good communication at the start in that they landed the Q onto Coraline, and then there was the instant follow-up from Ali to throw down the Sejuani ultimate, but just not enough follow-up damage to win the fight.
But here's the thing. No adaptive helm still on the Sejuani. In fact, she's moving. If I'm not wrong, she's going towards Warmogs, and that tilts me a little bit, right?
So is this better or worse than no Grievous Wounds versus Maokai? If you had to rate them.
This is probably worse.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is
So
probably
on a
worse.
scale of like 0 to 10,
Uh-huh.
is this -1 or is this -5?
This is a solid like -3. You really need the adaptive helm because the only one dealing consistent damage to you is the Cassiopeia.
Yep.
Get that? She's out of the equation. Get Tab Eyes, both Xayah and Tristana out of the equation. I don't know why they don't want those items. It's so
Yeah.
cost efficient.
Yeah. That is a nice bullet time.
Didn't find its target still though, so that kind of hurts a little.
But that just shows how much damage bullet time does when you do manage to land the entire full channel down. Right now, Iris Gaming trying to 3-man push the top side. Actually, top side tier 1 and bottom side tier 1 for blue is both about even right now. Looks like a bit of a race, I think, for both sides to see who's gonna be able to pick up that one first.
Well, actually, the full combo for Misfortune, if you want to kill someone with bullet time, there's auto Q, auto, then bullet time. Oh, hold on. A lot of damage onto this Ornn, who is probably not going to be able to cast. There you go. Denied with the Buster Shot. And this should be a very, very dead Ornn in the bot half. You are fight breaking on the top side. 4 members strong from EVOS. Valkyrie pushing in. They land multiple charms and multiple knockups. And this should be the fight going their way. There's absolutely nothing that Iris Gaming can really do to dissuade the aggression coming through. Look at that call line. It's just ripping them a new one. The only members left alive is Ren in the bot half and HHQ, who's somehow managed to retreat away from that fight.
That was pretty much the dream Rakan ultimate right there. Landed it under tower, went in with the speed boost, charmed up multiple members of Iris Gaming under their own turret, and it means that EVOS Valkyrie are not gonna, they're gonna pick up one, close to picking up both of the top side towers with Laiho as well, picking up the bot side tier 1. So just in the matter of a minute and a half, it's 2 and close to 3/4 towers just completely gone for Iris Gaming.
This is a crunch time for Iris Gaming because, like I said, not only are the items they picked up subpar to a certain extent, it's not as efficient as I'd like them to be, the composition doesn't scale at all either when it comes to dealing with Cassiopeia, Xayah, and Tristana, because they didn't get the lead, right? This is a composition that is running 2 tanks and 2 DPS, whereas on the other side, 3 DPS. When they have this much gold, it's a simple matter for them to just walk forward and fight you without tanks because they're outputting damage consistently.
Yeah, that was pretty much the one point of hesitation that we had during picks and bans for the side of Team EVOS, that we were wondering, you know, they don't have a front line. How is the Tristana going to be outputting damage when both Cass and Tristana are such short range? And I think EVOS Valkyrie, they found the solution this game, which is just get so far ahead that you just run straight at them, A, their face. No one on the side of Iris Gaming has the helm yet, or the tab eyes.
There's only one Tab Eyes and it's on the Sejuani. So that is still like a 25% there, you know. There's still another Tab Eyes and 2 adaptive helms you have to pick up.
Yeah, but they've all got tier 2 boots though. They've all been to the shop and been like, you know what? We had the choice. We could have bought Tab Eyes, but
no. We like attack speed and movement speed. And dying.
And dying. Oh no. Yeah, I don't want to pop you in solo kill.
I'm just saying, man. Tab Eyes value extremely high.
Gold efficiency. That's what we like to see.
Second dragon, or rather Inferno Dragon, will be spawning in a couple of seconds. Remember that the previous one was claimed by EVOS Valkyrie right now. Charging up. EW on Gragas. They're holding the fort pretty well. Actually, they could burn this down pretty quickly with the Cassiopeia Twin Fangs. It's just how much mana she has afterwards. Looking to go in for the steal is going to be Ali. I'm not sure if they can take this one. Instead, it will be stolen away by the bullet time, but the fight breaking out in the back line right now. They isolated a single member. It's going to be a Rakan sacrifice to end the Gragas, but the Realm Warp into the back line is going to make things a lot worse here. Jumping back in, Iris Gaming trying their best to re-engage, but not finding the avenue to do so. Look in the mid lane because the pings are coming down. They want the mid tier 2. Can they cut off the inside track and make their way there first? It appears that they will, but they don't have the minions to back this one up.
Oh, that Realm Warp has got to be play of the match right there. I mean, they weren't able to convert that into kills, but what nice timing that was.
Now they're looking towards the Baron, and this is very difficult because they don't have a lot of consistent damage. Remember, Misfortune is good in team fights, but she doesn't take objectives very quickly, especially Baron and Dragon.
Yeah, they knew that. They're gonna back off right there. There was the possibility of, you know, Morgana W, but she's support. This game is really not gonna be doing all that much. Also, with the amount of time that's lapsed, EVOS Valkyrie have actually been able to come back on to the map, and there's Laiho down there trying to make the most of this minion wave by getting these many AAs down with her W on onto the tower, and yep, that's just the power of the late game Tristana. When her W is on, she just does so much damage so fast to really shred these towers just pretty much by herself. I think the rest of her team were really just making sure that Iris Gaming weren't around the Baron pit. They laid down a bunch of very good wards over around the river and the entrances into the blue jungle. So really good rotations from EVOS despite that pretty disastrous team fight.
Yeah, please. He has the makings. She has the makings of it. Ornn right now holding the Catalyst, the Negatron's cloak. If you make a Abyssal Mask, I'll be so upset. Please don't. Save me.
I would love to see Abyssal Mask just because I feel like it would be so.
It would throw me off.
It would be so good entertainment for me, for one of us. I'm sure for the viewers as well. All the salt coming out from Hungry Casts.
Like, who else even uses the Abyssal passive? It's only Rise. There's no value. If you guys were running like Rumble or something, sure. But oh, hold on. They find the frontline damage onto Xin. Backing off right now. Great Charm, though, is only going to catch one. And the Petrifying Gaze is going to get the Morgana as well. It's a fight split on multiple fronts. But Iris Gaming are just charging forwards. They will lose two members right now, and they will trade across as well. Oh, the knockback, though! And the Feather Storm. They will get the 80 carries. They'll get everything in this fight, except HHQ and the jungler as well. Overall, the knockbacks were enough, and right now, EVOS Valkyrie push forward.
I'll be honest, that looked like it was going to end worse for Iris Gaming, but somehow it still ends with 3 members on the squad of EVOS Valkyrie dying. So all in all, they actually trade 4 for 3, which is a not terrible result.
Still a value play.
Yep, there is definitely still value to be had from that, but right now Ali isn't gonna. Yeah, Cass, you know what, she just doesn't care. She's just down there at the side Aing the tower. It does manage to stay up, however, so Ali with the Warmogs and with the fact that Miho is back up right now, they want to get a catch on the Gragas.
I don't think they should be taking this fight. Cassiopeia is here, she has full mana bar. Yep, just back off. I'm really starting to call into question the Iris Gaming decision making. It feels like because they aren't as far ahead as they'd like to be, they're panicking and making these calls. It's like desperation play, right? Yeah,
I definitely see it. Also, I think Bong had a very questionable and kind of uncharacteristic flash in the team fight earlier on that over the wall earlier. Oh, Sejuani, no!
See you later, buddy.
I always feel so bad when that skin Sejuani dies because it's like the large Poro.
The Poro also dies?
Yeah. I just feel really bad, like, you know, back in times of war when people rode on horses and then like they should and then there's like arrows to the horse and stuff. Like, what did the horse ever do to you? I feel really bad for the animals. Like, they're just trying to do their best. Alright, Baron fight.
Falling down very low, actually leaping in with the Zhonya's Hourglass as well as the Soul Shackles. Now they turn their attention over onto the Rise, who is not going to make it out alive. They trade 1 for 1 so far. Make that a 2 for 3 for 1. Bullet time coming in as well. The double kill from the top laner should be more than sufficient now. They're kiting this one out. A great Dark Binding to buy some space. But guess what? Caroline is unstoppable and so is Kamiho. And now they're going to look to finish off this Baron and restart it at least.
Yeah, we were saying earlier that Iris Gaming can't shred Baron fast enough. You know who can shred Baron? It's going to be Cass, but oh, it looks like they want to pick up MF first. They're going to get slowed down by the East. Doesn't look like the best decision that...
Oh, the Petrifying Gaze! So good! They turned the fight around and now they get the 80 carry as well as the jungler. See you later. This is going to be Baron for sure.
You know what? I take it back. I take back all the doubts that I had about Coraline right there. Clearly chasing down MF was the right play. They won't be able to get Baron, unfortunately, because Coraline is down to only about a quarter to a third health, but they will be able to...
Okay, since she's popping off, let me share some excerpts and anecdotes about Coraline. Before she joined EVOS Valkyrie, if I remember correctly, her IGN used to be Mia. Yeah, and she is known as a Zoe one trick in solo queue. Like, she got to challenger on Zoe, I believe, and for the most part, she favors assassins a lot more. So if you look at her match history, it's gonna be mostly Zad, Talon, LeBlanc, and Ari, but this time picking up the Cassiopeia with the Conqueror. 8-1 and 12 scoreline just popping off right now. Hard carrying her team, and Abyssal Mask, no Adaptive Helm. You guys, you know what? You deserve to get killed by the Cassiopeia at this point. It's like, I gave you the advice, you didn't want to listen. It's fine. It's okay.
She's so far ahead. She's at like 4.5 items right now. If you compare that to, say, like Tristana, who's actually also pretty ahead over in the top side, who's like 3 items plus boots. That's a big difference.
Look at this Baron Mill. It's going to go down so quickly with all of them here right now. It's down to 5.5. I don't think that anyone on the side of RS Gaming can arrive in time
They want
to,
to,
yeah,
they
no.
know, but yep, they're gonna back off. They hadn't even made it to River at the point when Baron was gone. So they're going to head down towards bot. There is a wave there, so they're gonna send the Orin to try and match Tristana's push over in the bot side. But meanwhile, just the rest of them going to form a group over in mid to try and stop this independent team fight. Sneaky Q over the wall, not going to land, and it's gonna be a matter of time before the mid side tier 2 falls.
If you're EVOS Valkyrie, just play the 1-4, allow Tristana to just split push in the bot side, because guess what?
Exactly.
Ren has no way of dealing with the damage coming through. It's crit as well as Blade of the Ring King. The moment she stands there and takes the autos with press the attack, she loses, right?
Yep, press the attack, rapid fire cannon as well. And the thing is, neither Red nor Laiho have the teleport right now, so neither of them will be able to join their team.
Play the 1-4 and allow the pressure to accumulate with the Tristana to the point where they have to send multiple members down. That's when you can decide to pull the trigger if you want.
Yep, and EVOS Valkyrie right now just playing things entirely by the book this time, making sure they've got all 3 lanes pushed in. Some things over in mid lane because mid is the only lane is not pushing in their favor right now. But oh, this might be hungry. We might be really close to EVOS Valkyrie rewriting their history.
What a petrifying engage in opening the fight up, but the bullet time counter engage is more than enough to take the fight across. They get 2 opening kills in response, making that a 2-for-2 right now. But left untouched is Coraline as well as the AD carry. They will be cleaning this one up, and the last member alive is going to be the top laner here for Iris Gaming. They wipe the floor with them. Coraline is the MVP for sure this game, as EVOS Valkyrie finally defeat the ghosts of their past and make it into the winner's final bracket.
And what a game that was from EVOS Valkyrie. We saw that in the previous game that they played versus Phoenix. It just looks like this team is on fire right now. Each game we see them, they get better and better, and there's just absolutely no stopping them. I mean, what a time for them to peak right before that grand final best of 3.
And you have to think, commiserations to Iris Gaming, previously known as Box Ladies, FSL Elite Champions, getting wiped in the tournament at this point. They definitely tried their hardest. You can see they did not hold anything back, but it's a mixture of, I want to say, nerves as well as inexperience playing from behind. This time on this particular patch, that makes them look like they're fumbling a little bit more.
I agree, but I mean, definitely props to them. The earlier games earlier on in the day, they were so overwhelming. They looked so dominant.
It's the casters, Chris.
Oh no, it's us, isn't it? It's us. It's definitely us. But with that, guys, we are going to be going for a very short break before we come back with our grand final best of 3 series between V Gaming as well as EVOS Valkyrie to find out who is going to be the FSL Vietnamese representatives for this season's FSL LoL Elite. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be back very shortly.